So, hello everyone. Um, my name is Anne, and I want to interview my son, and he'll be the one to say every other thing. So, please, can I meet you? Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Ugo Chizitelum Chukuma, but the name usually used to be so overcomplicated that almost everyone can pronounce it. So I go by the name Chizi pretty much everywhere.
Okay, I know we are Nigerians and we just immigrated to Canada last year, right? So, last 2 years.
Yeah.
So now I know it can be challenging, especially for school children and those of your age group. So I'd like to know a little bit, what was your first day in Canada like, in school, and how do you feel?
First day in Canada was basically this in a nutshell. I try not to speak to anyone except for no. Yeah, I tried not to speak to anyone due to I had stigma about some personal issues, personal stuff that is very classified, and that was basically like how the first week was. But I was gladly talking to other people. It was basically, but pretty much teachers that I was specifically talking to, because that they felt like they'll help me a lot, because like everybody acted so differently from how they used to be like when I came and when I was at Nigeria. They like act so much differently.
Okay, so now talking about the differences about people act. So what would you say is the biggest difference between Nigerian schools and Canadian schools?
The biggest difference is that there's no kin. There's no kin and there's no force to do homework. That is the biggest difference I've ever found in Canada, Canada and Nigeria. And also, in Nigerian schools, if you do not have a good connection with the teachers and your fellow classmates, they don't care about you. That's what I'm gonna say.
You mean in Nigerian schools?
Yeah, in Nigerian school, but here it's totally different and it's totally weird during the first few days.
So do you say that it's easier to make friends here? Did you feel welcome by your classmates in the first time in school?
I didn't feel welcomed specifically for this one reason. The cheesy as name. The name.
What about the cheesy? Like, can you tell me a little bit about it?
It feels like a term.
Okay, because your name is Cheesy Ugo Chizelum Lotanna Chukuma,
Yes.
and I know we call you Cheesy.
Yes.
So, okay, so introducing yourself as Cheesy was kind of
Yes.
weird, or do you think it's just a personal feeling, or is what you feel like you are thinking ahead that maybe this is what they are feeling? But like, what made you feel that there's something about it? Can you share?
What it was one of my primary reasons for me having stigma when I first came to school, and excuse me,
Sorry.
and another reason why I found cheesy is because that I'll expect that out of everybody that's inside the school, that is such a weird name to hear. It's like the equivalent of, it's like the equivalent of calling someone cheese, or like calling somebody like sushi or something. It just felt like so weird, because that it's like this type of things. I watch YouTube videos and probably your name is like a term, and then you just be hearing your name being called over and over again. It's like those type of things, for most especially for people who watch YouTube a lot. People people will just be, when someone hears that my name is cheesy, they'll find it weird and funny, and I find someone laughing a big problem in my self-esteem. Like, it's still like that till today. And when someone just laughs, I rather just like keep quiet, tell them to stop laughing, or I just be depressed inside or sad inside.
Okay.
And
Well, so essentially, I just feel it's your personal feeling. It may not necessarily be that nobody laughed because of cheesy. Like, that's just what you felt, right?
That is how I feel in like almost every situation, excluding the
Can you remove
TG.
your hand from your mouth? Okay, thank you very much. Not too bad. Not too bad. And I also want to ask, I asked before if it's difficult to make friends and how you felt, if your classmates welcomed you. I'm not sure I really got a clear explanation about that.
Let me just say that first year of school, I had like very, very, very few friends. And since that my brother was still in like grade 8 and I was in grade 6, he was like basically the only person I ever talked to. And in class, the only person I ever talked to was a person named Caleb that he is to this day somebody that is very questionable in class on how he sort of behaves. He acts like, let me say, he acts a little too childish. And I noticed that after I spent a lot of time of him noticing those traits about him. And second term, I didn't talk to him that much, and I moved on to another. Sorry, second year, I moved on to another person, and the person's name is Nick.
So what you're trying to say now is, when you had a friend, his name was Caleb, but later you now had another friend that is Nick. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like best friend wise, but other friends in between year one, I didn't really talk to people that much unless that they come to me and ask me a question or something. Second term, since I was aware of some people inside my class, I just was able to interact with them more, probably because that I had support from Nick, and also that they respected me from last year. I don't know why they respected me the way they're respecting me, but that is pretty much how I made some of my friends, most of my friends.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the language, the English. That's a question that has been in my mind. So how did you face any challenge with the way people spoke in Canada?
No,
Like how people, like the accent, do you have any challenge with it?
I didn't have any challenge with the accent because specifically for one reason. Back in Nigeria, I watched a lot of American shows, so it didn't affect me that much. But during the year one, there were some instances that they couldn't hear what I was saying. But that was like early year one. But later on, they were able to hear me more clearer, and I don't have that issue now.
Okay, interesting. That's quite that's good to know. So I want to go back to Nigeria. Like, is there anything you miss about the school in Nigeria? Like, you've answered that question, right?
I'm not sure that I answered this. What I'll miss that I'll say from Nigeria is the friends I made along the way. Like, most especially my teachers and my classmate friends, I'll miss them. But every other thing I wouldn't miss. I wouldn't miss, except for like the actual readable books and textbooks. Here, the schooling system feels too. It's impossible to read unless you have homework.
Okay, that's fair enough. Then I also want to ask. This is quite. You've answered a little bit. You've touched it a little bit, but I still want to ask. Is there any way you felt different from other students because of your background? Did you feel any way different? I've asked you about the accent, but now do you feel any way different being in a class and with different race? Probably they are white and you are black, you're in Nigeria. Did you feel any difference being among them in class?
Is it when I first came or like now?
Yeah, when you first came, and then as terms passed, how was it? The transitioning. How did can you just talk me through the whole experience from when you came and now?
Okay, so when I came, it was basically like this. I came in class, noticed that there's a lot of whites from different backgrounds, and also a good amount of blacks. So self esteem wise, I couldn't like really interact with them until like probably like first week was over. I was usually like talking to probably some black people, or just minding my own business. As I said, I didn't talk to anybody much in the year week one or the first few weeks of school. So it was basically like I just like not say ignored them, but I just avoided them because that I didn't know how to interact with them. Then probably then probably like the second half of school, first year of us being of me being in Canada. I was able to like talk to them, but not like to a friend state, except for the person that I said Caleb. It was like the only person that I talked to, and I like sat next to him the entirety of the year. So that was an experience. But there were some instances where I just felt like I am being used by him to do some work.
Okay. Well, let's not go into that. Okay, at least I've gotten, yeah.
And one more thing, I didn't say about how I am now. How I am now is due to the respect I am able to talk to them freely. Continue.
Like, what kind of respect?
I first the respect came from me like being a chill guy. If you know the meme, you know the meme.
Okay. That was interesting. Okay. That's a good one. So, Chizzy, I would want to ask you in clear terms, are there Nigerian traditions or values that you try to keep in your daily life in school?
I don't know. I do not know. What type of values did I have in Nigeria?
Like the respect,
Respect, like the greeting.
the greetings.
That doesn't exist here. So I don't even do that, and no one really does that.
So
Like no one
are
I
you trying
know.
to say that in terms of values that there is no more change? Like you still uphold the same values?
I feel if I've lost values because that the values that probably like the respect types ones like in Nigeria, they feel like they have been completely disintegrated, not completely disintegrated, almost completely disintegrated due to, first of all, school is basically like this. You enter, you enter inside class, you get ready, you just hear national anthem from speakers inside the class. Then after the speakers, there's like probably like announcements of stuff that's gonna be happening. Then school starts, school ends. Sorry, where school starts, break in between. Everyone just reduce their whatever they want to do, except for going inside the halls. No one likes them leaving class. And then recess time, first year, I hate recess, and I trying to find ways to stay inside. It never worked 99% of the time. Second term, I like, not like I like, but it's just like the type of thing that I would just want to go outside. Probably because that I am used to going outside now. In Nigeria, there was like no way of going outside for recess. And I thought the recess was a lot different than in school than now. Probably because I was thinking of it the way the high school is like. That was the way high school is like, according to my older brother Ebube. He says that there's no going outside for recess, and you just be able to do whatever I want to do for like 40 minutes. And that's what I was expecting recess when I came here. But that was the opposite of what I was thinking, so I had to deal with the consequences, and I've adapted. And then school would just go over and rinse and repeat. So there's like, probably I've lost everything.
Okay, so Chizzy, I have two more questions to ask you before we round off this session. First, the second to the last is, what advice will you give another Nigerian child who is moving to Canada to start school here? What is the advice you give that Nigerian child?
All of the stuff I've just mentioned. expect that when you come to Canada, because that is going to be very, very hard to cope with. And second advice, be yourself.
Correct. For me, that is the most important and most sensitive advice. Guys, be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. I can't overemphasize that. Be yourself. That's a good one. Is there any other advice? But I think this really resonates to me. Resonates with me. Sorry.
My brain isn't in advice mode and it is in answer question
Okay,
mode.
that's okay. That's okay. Thank you for that. So the last question I want to ask you tonight, Cheesy, is if you could change one thing about your school experience in Canada, what will that be?
One thing about my school experience.
Yeah. Your experience so far, if you want to change one thing, what is that you would want to change?
I have future changes that I wish that could happen, but right now changes is probably that probably that I'll be reading so I do not get isolated my entire life, that I will be banned from doing this and that, doing this and that. I mean, this is a family thing that I'm not gonna share, but let me just say that I find everything too easy since that about the age thing, about that whatever age you are is what class you are. I wasn't, Nigeria isn't doing that system, so I was basically meant to be like 2 classes ahead of everybody. So yeah, for everything was so easy and okay, let me not add that much stuff. So I let me just add some little extra that my family didn't think that I'm learning anything, or therefore they said I should study for like nothing, or sorry, something higher than what I should be studying for. So if I would say I would want to change one thing from my past experience so far, is I get rid of the age equals to class 10, because that they have literally ruined my life till now.
Well, it's good to know, Cheesy. Okay, I think thank you so much for this wonderful discourse, and thank you for answering the questions. I think you've touched almost every aspect about schooling in Canada and
What is missing?
yeah, I think basically all that I have in my head now. But lastly, do you know how to sing the Canadian national anthem of heart?
I could say I know most of it. I've never practiced. I just do it from muscle memory of hearing it in class almost every day.
Okay, so it's not something you would want to try now, right?
I could.
Should we try it? Let's try. Don't worry. Even if you didn't, if you don't get
Everybody who is gonna listen to this, I am a fraud at doing this. So let's just do this anyway.
yeah, let's do it.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true faith, true love, in all our songs command. With glory hearts we see the right, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on God for thee. Lord, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
on. So that's the end. We officially come to the end of this interview, and hope anyone that sees it would pick one or two things from this interview, from this experience here, and you will be able to help every newcomer, a new child in Canada would pick one or two from Chizi's experience and be able to navigate through school successfully. In the next episode of the video, would want to talk about other things about school subjects and how to cope. So that's it for today. And
one more thing, I am sorry that I cover my face a lot. Is that I don't like smiling in public. Anytime I smile or laugh, I just cover my face.
No problem. Thank you, Chizi. Thank you so much, and have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.